I'm Wyatt Cash at Scoop News Group, and we're here today with Ron Thompson, Chief Data Officer at NASA, to talk about building a data-driven government. Ron, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me out today, Wyatt.
Let me start by asking, given the explosion of data from intelligent applications and infrastructure, what's your vision for what agencies really need to do to leverage data to become more data-driven?
Well, as you can imagine, NASA's not unlike any other agency. We deal with vast amount of data that we collect about the Earth, about the stars, and about our mission data, launching our astronauts into space, and all of our observation work, all of our scientific work that we're doing. So we have large amount of data. So we are actually taking an enterprise approach to how the data is collected from a purpose-built perspective, and actually leveraging interoperability among data. And we have our data strategy that we put into place about 18 months ago. And that's basically to identify, to catalog all the FAIR principles around data, to have a good inventory of what's there, and to connect into those data sources for better decision making for our leadership. I like to describe it to provide better hindsight, insight, and foresight of how the agency runs.
I like that analogy. Next, what must agencies think about in the post-pandemic environment? Not that we're out of it quite yet, but as we move forward to really manage and secure and analyze data that's increasingly taking shape at the edge of agencies' enterprise environments.
Yeah, I think the play here is, we have the internal focus from each of our perspectives, right? That's really, how do you organize? How do you identify? How do you make sure that you have the proper culture that really allows for that data sharing to happen? So what we're doing is we're standing up an enterprise data platform, and that basically is to have that functionality for the identification and interoperability. But we're seeing a greater play at NASA as well, and I'll just take the example of climate data. We're seeing NASA collects a vast amount of information about our Earth. We're seeing a great opportunity for collaboration with other federal agencies around this space as well. So that's a little bit different, I think, than how some programs work. That's a little bit different than how some agencies work. So really identifying the areas where we can share, where it makes sense. So that's not as easy as it seems, though, because you have to have a good foundation of identifying how you're going to identify or how you're going to actually name a particular data attribute, right? So that's sort of like the European Union. I liken it to how the European Union works, right? So a lot of upfront collaboration with external agencies, why you collect it, what it's used for, and we see a world, I think, that we can achieve greater interoperability among all the federal agencies, but again, with commercial partners as well.
Well, it certainly argues for the importance of data governance in government. Next, kind of more at the infrastructure level, how is the expected growth and distributed nature of digital workloads reshaping the need for agencies to, think about prioritizing their investment priorities around on-prem, hybrid, and public cloud environments?
Yeah, that's a good question, Wyatt, and something that we're really taking a very close look at, because we can't continue to, I think I saw a stat recently that 80% of the data that we have is replicated. So just think about that, in the scale of just NASA as one agency, right? So we do need to take an approach where we are not purpose building and how we can collectively come together instead of building these things on-prem in-house. We're seeing that the cloud, we're seeing that sort of that hybrid opportunity to sort of share, and I like to sort of describe it as collect once, use many. So a lot of our observation data we do We do collect for very specific reasons. So, but also other programs may be able to use it, and then other programs may be able to need to collect that same attribute. So we are really taking a very close look at how we can behave, not just from a myopic point of view, but behave as an enterprise point of view, because we are seeing the sustainable resources, or the resources that we have right now are not sustainable working in the old ways, right? So we do have to take a more distributed way of how we collect, analyze, and disseminate our information.
And then lastly, I know NASA has been on the forefront of working with people all over the globe remotely, but talk to me a little bit about how the digital transformation journey, particularly in light of the pandemic and the degree to which people have had to work remotely more often, how is that, really driving your agency and others to support remote workers and improve citizen engagement in maybe new ways?
Yeah, that's this is a reality. We're living in a world that we have a hybrid mode. We went into the last 18 months fully remote. But if you look at what we've done and the launches that we were able to achieve, really the major milestones that we have for our programs really pretty much stayed on track. So NASA's a very resilient workforce. We did use the tools available to us at the time when we were totally remote, but we are spending a significant amount of effort, Wyatt, on identifying the future of our work for NASA. So our part of our digital transformation effort is to really transform our workforce, and workplace. So if you look at that, that's really the how we do that is really in three distinct categories. We have sort of the tech, and that's how the tools, the capabilities work. And what we're seeing is that interoperability space. You almost have to pick one and stick with one. Well, we're pretty diverse and distributed, the way we work. So that interoperability piece from a tech piece is very, very important to us. But we are not seeing that as really a standard way to rely on yet. So we're having to sort of piece things together. So for right now, and then the other two aspects are our culture, and that's sort of how our senior leadership actually sets the tone. That hey, working in a hybrid mode is okay. You don't have to be on-prem to actually interface with the boss, or have those talks. So, and then it's really the culture of the workforce itself. So how can they really show up and participate? Turn the cameras on. It was a very new behavior for us when we started this 18 months ago. Folks were used to dialing in and really not being present. So having the cameras turned on was a very big cultural aspect of what we need to shift. So those three attributes, the leadership, the tech, and then the actual culture of the workforce. We're seeing that as a sort of a three-legged stool in our success and how we work and navigate in the future.
Well, I'm sure our viewers can definitely relate to that experience. Well, Ron Thompson, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to join us here, talk about some of the insights you're gathering from your position at NASA, and talk about how governments are kind of moving forward to build a data-driven government.
Thank you, Wyatt.